They told me you can't do that here, Beanie. It might sound good in one of your books, but this is a construction site. You can't build a learning environment here. But I didn't start with a touchy-feely feel-good program or some poster. It started with a shelf. One shelf, a few books, a marble, a cricket ball, and a football. That's how you build a learning environment. Not with noise, but with signals. Signals that say, we improve here and we think here. We actually give a about getting better together. Human beings don't just need motivation. They need a purpose, autonomy, and a shot at mastery. When you build that into your environment, your team will grow and they will improve. And what happens next is they start to own the change with you. You want to build your culture? Start with a shelf. We didn't broadcast to one of our channels, but hopefully we're there. All right. Stealth teams. Haven't got this prepped up, ready. Accusation order. Maybe seen a good idea introduced on a project. Got a little bit of traction. A couple of weeks later, it had died. Maybe the framework wasn't a problem. Maybe the system just rejected it. It was fragile, not anti-fragile. Maybe someone on your job saw the problem early, but they were labelled as being negative or always trying to slow the job down or always finding the reason why they can't do something. I call these people troublemakers. And you want them as part of your stealth team. I'll show you why today. All right, so what we're going to have a look at is, hit the bell, bro. Ever watched a good idea spread slowly, and once a few supervisors started using it, it took? That is what happens here with the stealth team. What we're going to do is have a look at a TED Talk or a guy called Derek Sivers. He explains how movement happens he shows you the whole thing happening in like 90 seconds, I think it is. This is how you make it happen, okay? Anyone's got access to this information online. What we need but is the who. Who can make this happen? There's probably hundreds of different people that have shared this video. This is how you do it. Shared it on sites, shared it at pre-start talks, all sorts of things. Who has actually done it and made it happen on a particular site? That's what you need. If you want to move from your lowest probability, the slowest way of it actually happening and the lowest probability of it actually happening, to the highest probability and it happening the quickest, then you need to focus on the who. There's a specific skill set that we want inside this group. So let's get straight into it and have a look at how this works.
So ladies and gentlemen, at TED we talk a lot about leadership and how to make a movement. So let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons from it. First, of course you know.
So this was old mate Benny on LinkedIn and on the job to start with. You've got to have the courage to be criticised. What does he call it?
A leader
Ridiculed.
needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed.
That's the first step. One of the who's, the key one, your integrator, whoever's going to kick this off, needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. Who are the people that speak up at your meetings the most? That actually try and drive change for you. They're already trying to do it. Who are, go and have a look on their social profiles, the people that are actually sharing something on LinkedIn. More importantly, who's using video to do it? That's the first step. That's the first step of forming this stealth team.
But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to...
Okay, so on the project, that was my role. Mine was the first one, was the who, the integrator. The person that stood up was willing to be ridiculed. We got a whole team come on board with this in the end. What started first was, so across 2 shifts, night shift, day shift, we had 9 people that actually made up this stealth team. I didn't select them, they selected themselves by what we're going to see in this video here. First one to come on board was the scheduler. So now it's not just Bainey stand up and dancing, getting ridiculed by himself anymore. Scheduler saw what I was doing and went, this makes sense. He jumped on board.
Show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's...
That's vitally important for this guy to embrace the first person, guy or lady, whoever the who is, the integrator, to embrace the first person as an equal.
not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader.
Write that down. The first follower transforms the who, the lone nut, into a leader.
And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers, not the leader.
New followers emulate the follower, not the leader. And it must be visible. You must do this stuff in public. Hence the reason why I do all this stuff on video. Okay, so what happened next is we got 4 superintendents involved. So I had one that come on board. I ended up with 2 on my side. I was primary contractor side, and this was general contractor. So this stealth team wasn't just made up of you're the client, we're the contractor. This was both sides. In the end, we got 4 superintendents on day shifts and 2 on nights that were engaged in this. The 2 senior supers really took it on board as well and drove this as well. What happened generally was this guy here, the scheduler, worked with the 2 night shift supers specifically on what we're doing, building this stealth team, and these guys work together. You don't want your teams to get too big. I'd recommend to start with 5. It's all to do with communication lines and how many points of contact you got, and you'll move the quickest when you got between 5 and 7. This was across 2 shifts, so we had 9. So that was about perfect, the numbers that we had.
Now here come 2 more people, and immediately after, 3 more people. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point. Now we've got a movement.
Hear what he's saying there? Now we've got momentum. Now it's a tipping point. Now all the others can join in. It's safer for everyone else on the site to join in. The reason, a lot of reason change management fails is because we go into a site and we go, things are going to change around here and we're all going to do this. That's not how it works. You lose momentum, the corporate immune system attacks what you're trying to do, and it dies. You must take this stealth team to the side and work with them deliberately, are the people that join the movement to first. They're the ones that you want.
So notice that as more people join in, it's less risky. So those that were sitting on the fence.
Write that down. As more people join in, it's less risky. The ones that were sitting on the fence, there's less risk. But there's something else interesting that happens.
Before now have no reason not to. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry.
They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. That's exactly how we change things on a site. That's how we change the culture. That's how we introduce lean. It's how we introduce this improvement loop that I use, ORCA, every single day. If I went, well, the next one that I do, and I'm about to start another one again soon, I'll be looking for this stealth group, and the only thing that they'll be focused on to start with is to do ORCA every day. Do as many ORCAs as possible until that takes hold. So that takes hold, then I'll get this continuous improvement loop going. Right, talking about ORCAs, let's get the business and do ours for today. ORCA phase 2. Right, so yesterday, if you watch yesterday's, it was a terrible episode. Don't watch it. Don't go back and watch it. I rewrote the prompts and I used the wrong GPT to rewrite the prompt. So this one was given another prompt going, if Benny tries to get you to write a prompt again, tell him to UFO. Okay? So when I did try to get him to write the prompt, I did try and get him to do the wrong thing again. He's gone, no, I don't do that. Sure it was here that he said that. No, it's not. I'm in the wrong prompt again. Where am I? In the wrong chat. Let's go back. ORCA phase 2. Let's try this and see what happens. New debrief. Right, now we should be away. What ORCA day number is this? No, this is not the right one. Right, let's go back to our wingman. Prompt builder. Get the right prompt out of him. Yesterday you rewrote the prompt for me for the ORCA wingman because I told you about how I gave it another task to do and it ran off and did it. Can you just drop that prompt out for me again, please, so I can do my daily ORCA debrief today? Any reset, fragile reset version, rebuilds the state of the motto. Right, still building it. Hasn't come up just yet. Man, it's slow today. Come on. It's funny how we call this slow now. I'm actually looking at this process now going, this is so convoluted and slow and all the rest of it. And I thought it was fantastic 90, 120 days ago, whatever it was. Now, I'm going to go to Claude very soon. And it's going to blow out the water what we've been doing here. ORCA phase 2. What ORCA day number is this? You're on the wrong prompt. We need to start with a new prompt that I'm going to give you now. Just resetting. Should tighten the process back up again. Need to put some sort of improvement in place. We probably need a little visual in front of it so that we actually get the right wingman. Make that tomorrow's improvement. What day, ORCA? You're not supposed to be asking that question. Oh, yes you are. Day 107. My bad. It is Tuesday, the 10th of March, 2026, 11:42 a.m. and we are in Benny's office. Been doing a lot of work with wingmans and ORCA prompts at the moment. I'll create another one so that the guys can use it out in the field at post to construction school. And obviously I haven't verified full kit probably, because if I had of, I'd know which wingman I was using and which questions it would be asking when I did this. Waste. Current date, state rebuild, anti-fragile. Upload a photo of the previous shift whiteboard so the actions can be restructured. All right, we'll do that. So what I actually did to start with was probably right. I was a constraint in the system. Follow me for a bit. We'll come over here. Open actions, run live. What was the definition of done for this? The definition of done is that it is uploaded, published on LinkedIn and YouTube. The handover notes are given to the banger bot and he writes the banger. The banger is posted onto LinkedIn, published live. What I've asked it to do there is get a definition of done for each task. So we can say, yes, the task's done. No, the task isn't. That's why he's asking specifically, what does this mean? Run live. Step 2, live session uploaded, published on LinkedIn. Yes. Now he's asking me whether I've done it or not. Yes. She's confirming that these tasks have been done. Yes. Yes. So all 3 tasks have been completed. What was the objective of the mission for today? The objective of the mission today was to retest the ORCA wingman that publishes to school. Yes. It was, we had to give it 2 test runs. We had some issues with inputs and a transcription being incorrect, which we've now fixed. So it was runs a live session inside a school and the wingman is now working correctly. ORCA wingman was tested through 2 runs. Initial issues occurred due to incorrect inputs and transcription errors. As issues were corrected, the wingman now runs a live session in school correctly and produces the required output. Yes. What caused those results? Troubleshooting it, working with the wingman, and we did the ORCA on the ORCA actually. We did an ORCA process inside of it to work out what the objective of it was, what results, what caused it, and then we created some actions and we closed those out. Wingman was tested in a live school environment. Input and transcription issues were identified during the first test run. An ORCA process was applied to troubleshoot the wingman itself. Actions were created and executed to correct the issues. The wingman is now functioning correctly after the second test run. Yes. New actions on the whiteboard and take a photo and complete. We're just going to keep the same actions that we've got. That follows me. It does. Beanie run alive. 10th. Yeah. Wingman. Orca does his handover notes. That's the 10th. Banger of the recap. Banger recap. Yep. Take a photo. See if he does the definition of done now. What's the definition of done for this action? Oh yeah, cool. The live must be published on LinkedIn and YouTube. The handover notes are given to Mox so that he can write the banger post. The banger recap post is published on LinkedIn. Okay, debrief is complete and the two boxes are back again, so we can copy paste those across. Perfecto. Right, how are we going for time? What do we get in today? 1 or 2? 1. Let's do, we did some work yesterday as well on the way that he creates that handover for Mox to write his BangerBot posts, because what was coming out was just like a meeting recap rather than writing a post for LinkedIn, which was to speak to what issues do people have, what they want to know about, what would they learn if they went back and watched the live. So every post that I do is either pushing to the next post or to the post before. Go back and watch the recap. The recap says go back and watch the live. The live was from the day before, and it keeps going on and on and on. If you go back and watch Saturday's post, it gives you the full breakdown of how I run a week's worth of content, how you use that as well. The exact same process is how we build a stealth team. We teach on Monday, we show on Tuesday. It's exactly what I did today. Showed you how I did it. How we got a scheduler, 2 senior supervisors and 6 superintendents into that stealth team and got it up and running. I made Danny fragile so they didn't stop working when I wasn't on site. Tomorrow we'll do an engage, spark conversation. Thursday we'll shift beliefs, and then Friday we'll say, hey, I want to come across and join a construction school. Exact same thing. You're building a culture on site. You need to build a stealth team. You need to be communicating with them in this cadence, in that same pattern. Here's your banger recap. Let's see if it's a better post. Most teams interpret that moment when the wrong, hang on a sec. The first time you run a new execution process, it usually breaks. Cool, this is more like it. Most teams interpret that moment the wrong way. Tool fails, the process stalls, something goes wrong in the flow. Immediate conclusions predictable, systems don't work. Here's a real problem. Okay, what we're going to do now is we've got another GPT who, what his job is like a editor. The next one is called the BangerBot. I'm going to give him that. Now the BangerBot. Hey BangerBot, you know yesterday we were having issues with Mox and he was writing the recap posts and creating them like they were just meeting minutes. So I got you to drop a prompt out, which I gave across to the overall prompt writer. You put your piece into there. That input was incorporated into the ORCA Wingman prompt to write his debrief a different way for mocks. This is what mocks has now come up with that new set of parameters. What do you think? Is this a banger recap? So he'll put his opinion in now. He's been given a set of parameters. BangerBot actually comes from this guy, created the weekly content formula called Taki Moore. All this is based, Taki's a coach, and you probably think, Banger, why are you talking about coaches? It's because that's exactly, on site, we've got teams. You know what teams need? Coaches, okay? Taki created the BangerBot and gave it a certain set of parameters. This is how you write a good post. This is how you write a banger. So his job is to assess Mox's copy. And the copy is what he's written. Short answer, no, it's better than before, but it's still not a banger recap. It's still drifting into process explanation instead of reader recognition. You fixed the meeting minutes problem, but now it's become internal mechanics again. Wingman, org process, transcript, tool testing. And exec scrolling LinkedIn doesn't care about any of that. They care about execution breaking, systems failing on a first run, teams abandoning change too early. The recognisable problem is good, but the middle collapses into internal tooling. So the centre of gravity needs to move from what happened in the session to this pattern happens on your project too. The fix, tightening the banger recap. Here's a correct version in one block so you can copy paste. So he's rewritten the post with his updates. Pin comment. One more important observation. The Wingman prompt you added actually worked. The recap now starts with recognised problem, but still drifts. Never reference internal tools. This is much more a problem. One rule will fix it completely. Okay, write that rule in a way that I can give it to the explain what's going on to the other wingman is called the prompt builder. Write that, explain to him where it should be, why we need it, and how it's going to make the process even more anti-fragile when the wingman creates his handover notes and gives it to Mox. Okay, so and he's now written a prompt for me to, let's map this out for you so you can actually see how this works, because it's starting to get a little bit confusing, even for me. Well, Bailey's brain's getting confused as well. Where is, here we go. Let's take this bit out. So we have ORCA Wingman. He takes it through the ORCA process. Okay? He gives a prompt to Mox, write the recap. BangerBot is like an editor, like you give something that you've written in a book to an editor to say, does this make sense? Yes or no? That's his job, is to assess that recap. Away from all of this is another one, which is prompt writer. He writes the prompt, all the prompts, but particularly the one for the ORCA Wingman process. So every time we want to improve that, we go back to him and say, rewrite the prompt and improve this. Then we take that prompt, we give it back to the ORCA Wingman, and he runs us through it again with the new improvements in place. BangerBot wants an improvement. BangerBot writes the improvement. We give it to the prompt writer. Prompt writer will write a new prompt. We drop it back into the ORCA Wingman tomorrow. And tomorrow we should get a better result out of our banger. Again, our written banger. Clear as mud. got any questions or you want to do a session on it, I'll do sessions on it inside school. We're going to spend a bit more time on it. We're not doing like we are here, trying to stick to a clock. Anyway, take that, use it, make a great week. I'll speak again tomorrow. When I went to school, the teachers had a name for me. Disruptive. Turns out though, inside school with a K, that's my biggest advantage. Inside construction school, I run a community where project and business leaders come together to flip the script. We're literally building the anti-project management playbook. And that's driven by the fact that over 7 decades of data tells us that what the construction industry currently does doesn't work. We focus on the 12 causes of project failure and how we use the 9 rules of flow to mitigate them. What happens is you get less drama, more predictability, and leaders that start leading instead of reacting. So yes, I was disruptive in the classroom, but now that's being put to good use inside school. If you've got a disruptive streak and you want to start your own community or join construction school, there'll be a link around here somewhere, and I'm sure you know what to do next. That's school with a K, not the one with a CH. I really hated that place.